Hello and welcome back to part 5 of our training video series for how to use KYHMIS. Back where we're left off here, I'm looking at Fred's record. We still have all of our options set for Kentucky Housing Corporation Dummy Project as our Enter Data As selection. We're still backdated to December 1st, 2012. And what we're going to do in this video, we're going to cover putting in updates as interim reviews for your client. So if you recall the 3 phases of project participation, if you will. Phase 1 is their entry, their situation at the time of entry, which is collected on the entry assessment, which we did in the last video. Phase 2 will be updates to their information, specifically monthly income, non-cash benefits, health insurance, and disability information. That's what we'll cover in this video, and later we'll cover Phase 3, which is exiting the program. So what we're going to do, we're going to cover a couple of updates for our clients, and we'll go through how to do the interim process. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my back date. So we've established him in the program, and he's good to go. He leaves the meeting with you, and you get him set up and participating in your program, and things are good. And then we're going to say a few months go by, and he reports that he's now getting income. He got a job. Okay. So let's say in this example, I'm going to change my back date by clicking on the date up here. Let's say April 15th, 2013, he reports getting a job. So his job starts April 15th, 2013, and that puts him in a status of receiving monthly income. Even if he hasn't gotten paid yet, he is in that established position where he's going to be getting monthly income. So I will hit set back date to change it to 4/15/2013. Now, all 3 of those phases for project participation are located under the Entry Exit tab. We have our entry date section, which serves as our entry assessment. We have our exit date section, which serves as our exit assessment, and then our interim section. Now that serves as phase 2, our updates. So all we have to do is click on this little piece of paper here in the interims column. Now, keep in mind I am on my head of households record, Fred here. So I'll click on interims, and I will add interim review. So it's not necessarily required per se, but it is very good practice to make sure you're only including those people in the household that are actually associated with this change that you're putting in. So if I'm updating Fred's income because he got a job, I don't need to have Wilma on there. I'm not going to be changing any information for her, just Fred. So I've got Fred selected by himself. And then down below, we have interim review type. The main 2 we're going to focus on are annual assessment and update. Annual assessment, as it sounds, is only done once per year. So we're going to select update for this. This is just going to serve as an update for the client's information. So our back date pulls over here to the review date section, and we can hit save and continue to move on. Now this looks very similar to the entry assessment, except it's missing all of the questions, or most of the questions that are at the top of the entry assessment. As I mentioned, the main 4 things that are covered under these updates, these interim assessments, are monthly income, non-cash benefits, health insurance, and disability information. So we're changing his income, okay? We're saying that he's going from not having a job, not having any monthly income, to actually receiving it. So the first thing we have to do is we have to update this income from any source question, because the answer is no longer no. So you see that it's bringing up all the responses that we already put in on our entry assessment, but it is important to note that by changing these answers, you're not going to overwrite what you put on his entry assessment. So even after I do this and save the changes, when I go back and look at his entry assessment, it's going to show me the answers that we had in there before, because it serves as a snapshot as his situation at the time of entry. Okay? So income from any source, I'm going to change from no to yes, because he now has monthly income. Now, there's a certain way you have to do this, and it can be a little confusing, okay? Now, keep in mind here, this is just a small detail, but keep in mind that it says there are 15 income sources here. So when I open up, I'm going to use the magnifying glass here to open up my sources of monthly income. So you can see there's one line of information for each type of income. Okay, so when I look for earned income here, there's only one line broken out for it. Okay, now I'm going to click on HUD verification. And for earned income here, you see this is pulling his status of not having it, which we established in his entry assessment. So we need to update this. So I'm going to click the pencil beside earned income. Now, you may be thinking that you just need to go in here and put the amount of income that he now gets, okay? And maybe change this to yes, but that would be the wrong workflow to do here, okay? That would really skew your data entry that you've done so far. The correct process is this, okay? So remember, we established that time frame at the beginning, starting on 12/1/2012, where he does not receive monthly income, okay? What we need to do is we need to put an end of that status in which he wasn't receiving it. If we change this to yes, we're overriding that period we put in there where he never had income. Okay, we're removing that from the system of ever happening. We don't want to do that. So we want to put an end date on this. We're going to end his status of not having income and establish a new status where he does have income. But the question is, what would the end date be? Well, I said he got a job on April 15th of 2013. So would April 15th be the correct date? The answer to that is no, it wouldn't actually. The reason is, if I put this with an end date of 4/15/2013 and I start his new status where he does get income with a start date of 4/15/2013, then that means if my art report looks at the date April 15th, 2013, it's going to see two separate occurrences happening. It's going to see a status where he does not receive income, and it's going to see a status where he does receive income. So I need to break those apart so that the date does not overlap like that. So what we do is we need to put the end date for the day before his new status takes place. So his new status of having a job starts on April 15th. So we're going to end this period of not having income for the day before that, April 14th, 2013. I'm not going to put an amount in because, remember, this is his time period where he did not have income. I'm definitely not going to change this. If you recall, you don't want to change this unless you're correcting a mistake. If I change this to yes here, then it would change that answer as yes on my entry assessment, okay? And that's not correct. So we need to keep this as no. So we're going to hit save, and what it's going to do is it's going to put an end to this status where he does not have income, and it's going to reset my bubble here. It's resetting the bubble because I need to establish what his current situation is since we ended his last one. So his new situation is, yes, he does receive income. And when I click yes, it's going to bring that same box up, or that same type of box. Now here, all we need to do is put his amount in there. So let's say he receives $1,200 a month in income now. Okay? We're not putting an end date because obviously we don't know how long his job is going to last. So once I save this, it's going to put this in here, and I can't change the bubble. Remember, not able to change this bubble. So I'm going to hit exit, and this is all we have to do to save this change. Now if you look here, this now says 16 sources, okay? The reason it says 16, if I click my magnifying glass here and sort by source of income, there was only one box for earned income here. But since we put an end to that one, so this is his situation where he did not have income, and we put an end date of April 14th on there, and we started his new status. When we start that new status, it adds a line on here for earned income. So now there are two boxes for earned income. It added one source on there, which brought the total from 15 income sources to 16. Okay? But this is all we need to do. We've changed this answer to yes. We put an end date on his previous status, and we started his new status where he makes $1,200 a month in earned income. So I can go to the bottom, save and exit, and his update is saved. Let's do another one. Maybe they lose their food stamps. Okay? So maybe as a result of his job, they lose their food stamps. So just for a hypothetical date, I'm going to change this back date to maybe April 26th, 2013. So as of April 26th, 2013, they lost their food stamps benefits. So as of April 26th, they no longer have food stamp. They no longer have SNAP, both the husband and the wife. So we're going to do the same type of workflow this time. I'm still on Fred's record. My back date is set appropriately. And I'm going to go here on the Entry Exit tab still and click the piece of paper under Interims again. We see our interim here that we put in already. We do not want to add to that one. Okay, we want to create a new one. Each time there's a new change, we need to add a separate interim review. So I'll click Add Interim Review. And now I said they both lose their SNAP benefits. So I'm including both of them on this one, whereas I only included Fred on the last one. So interim review type, again, is going to be Update. The review date pulls from whatever I have set as my back date, and I hit Save and Continue. Now, similar to the entry assessment, it's got both of my household members on the left. So I'm starting with Fred here. He's highlighted, so I will have to remove the food stamps from his account or from his assessment here, save it, and then switch over to Wilma's and remove it from her as well. So I'll go down here to the non-cash benefits section. Remember, this is the only non-cash benefit that they're currently receiving. Okay? So we need to do the same thing as we did last time for income. We need to go in and we need to end the period where they were receiving food stamps and start a new time period where they do not receive it. In addition, we need to change this yes or no question here, non-cash benefit from any source, from yes to no, because they no longer receive any. Remember, it's not overriding the answer of yes that we put in on the entry assessment. Once I have that set to no, remember there are 8 sources in here. So I will click HUD verification. I will click the pencil beside the SNAP benefits here. The only one they have marked is yes. And similar to how we did the last one, I'm not changing this receiving benefit question. This changes the bubble. You do not want to change this unless you're changing a mistake. You're correcting a mistake. So again, the end date is going to be set to the day before their change takes place. So as of April 26, 2013, they no longer receive SNAP. So the day before is when their status for this previous situation ends, so that we don't have overlap there. Once I save it, it closes out that last situation and I have to establish the new situation. So in this case, I have to select no for the SNAP benefits because they do not have them any longer. So I will hit Save and Exit. It's going to lock that down. And now you'll see I have 9 sources. It's doing the same thing as it did with the income. If I click the magnifying glass again and sort by source of non-cash benefit here, you'll see right here, this was his previous box, his previous time period of having SNAP from 12/1/2012 until April 25th, 2013, in which he, yes, was receiving them. And then right here is his new box for SNAP, where we established that he is not receiving them anymore as of April 26th, 2013. And you'll see those dates do not overlap. Okay? So I will hit Exit to close out. I'm going to go down here and just save it to make sure. Scroll back up, and now we have to do the same thing for Wilma. So I'm quickly going to go down, change non-cash benefit from any source from yes to no, bring up the HUD verification window, click the pencil beside the only yes option in here for food stamps, put an end date for the day before their new status takes place. When I save it, it will free up the bubble so I can set their new status. of no, save and exit, and you'll see that it bumps that one up from 8 to 9 as well. And when I look at the magnifying glass and sort by non-cash benefits, my time periods do not overlap, and I have a separate box for the SNAP benefits where they were receiving them and the SNAP benefits for where they are not receiving them any longer. So I will hit exit. I'll go to the bottom and I will click save and exit. And now I have successfully made that change as well. All interims work this way. The annual assessment is slightly different. We'll cover that a little bit later. But anytime you have to update anything for income, non-cash benefits, health insurance, and disability information, remember that that is done as an interim review, and you have to do a new interim review each time a new separate change occurs. And that is located on the Entry Exit tab. So you'll see for my head of household, Fred, he has 2 interims associated with him. And if I switch to Wilma, she will only have 1, because she was not included on the one where Fred started receiving income. So I'll change back to Fred, and then that's pretty much it for interims. We'll go a little more in depth with them in a step or 2 later, but this covers really everything that you need to know about using them in general. Stay tuned for the next video. Hope you found this useful, and thank you.